Hi everyone, good evening. It's Richard Wade. I just thought I'm going to do a few little mini videos, stream them live, only for a few minutes each, on stuff that I'm coming across on the internet relating to rural crime. This is the first. I just want to see how it goes. It might get an audience, it might not. If it does, great. If it doesn't, well, I won't do too many of them. If you're watching now or you watch later, then by all means feel free to subscribe to the channel. That would be much appreciated. And get engaged. If you have any questions or you would like to add some comments, please do so. If this starts to get a bit of traction, what I'll do is maybe invite a few people on. So if you're interested and you want to get involved, let me know in the comments on the YouTube, and then on future ones, only short, brief little streams. Maybe we'll invite a few guests in and get a bit of chat and debate going. The reason I'm going to start doing a few of these is predominantly around the rural crime survey done by the NFU. I've been going through that with a fine-tooth comb, and I'm going to do a couple of presentations on that over the next week or so. I've obviously been following rural crime now very, very closely for many, many years. And, this rural crime survey that's just been produced, we could have predicted it. It's almost identical to the one that was done last year, which is almost identical to the one that was done the year before and the year before and the year before. Hats off to NFU, a fantastic job. It's a survey amongst the NFU's customer base. So what it tells me also is that what we're seeing is a snapshot of a certain demographic. The real problem is much bigger than what's presented in the current statistics. There's a lot of unreported crime. And then there's all those people who aren't insured with that certain insurance brokers, so insurance underwriters. So, let's be under no illusions. It's a huge problem. It's more than the 50 odd million. I'm going to bring on a video now. I want to show a little video, and I'll do a little bit of commentary on it. But this brings home to me what rural crime is all about. We hear of things getting stolen, but predominantly they're insured. So if I get my quad bike nicked, the chances are that I'll call my broker, and maybe in 2 or 3 weeks' time, I'm going to have a nice brand new shiny quad bike sat in my drive, often waiting for the criminals to come back and steal it again, unless I've done something to up my game in security and crime prevention. And we're going to talk a lot more about those in future chats, hopefully. So yeah, let's have a quick look at this video then. It's about a farmer who has been a victim of rural crime. And this is the real impact of rural crime. So the life-changing impact of rural crime. It's more than...
Right, my name is Jeremy Scott, and I'm a farmer in Kent on a 480-acre arable farm. These are the gates into my farmyard. This is the road behind me. The thieves drove up this road and attached a chain to this gate. They drove in, having pulled the gate off its hinges, to my container here, and they attached their chain to these upright bars which closed the container and pulled the doors open. The alarm went off, and I came out from my house, which is over here where I live. So I came out from my house, and there were 4 of them. I walked further on to the door of the container to try and stop them. The doors were open. And I got past them and stood in the doorway here, and they went on punching me, and I made an attempt to defend myself, but there were 4 of them, and after a little while they departed. I was afraid, yes. I wake up every night at 1:30, and I don't go to sleep again until 4 o'clock. Because that's when they come.
Well, he was injured. He'd had both his arm smashed up, and also there was blood all over his face. And it seems that these people operate with absolute impunity. There's almost no neighbour that we have who hasn't been broken into.
I get the feeling that really nobody seems to have any idea of what to do about this.
So there we have it. So there's the experience of that farmer and his son, but it was wider than that, wasn't it? You know, you'll have picked up on the fact that they stated that all of the neighborhood, the whole neighborhood, has been a victim of rural crime. So they've all been victimized, and it said there also often more than once. So that tells me there's a problem in that area. It also tells me that a lot more needs to be done, and we'll talk about that very briefly in a moment. Let's just very briefly mention the actions of the gentleman. I'm not in any way knocking the individual. You know, he did what he thought was right at the time, in the heat of the moment. But now, in the cold light of day, if we analyze what happened there, it's very typical of a rural crime activity. Now, they came in a vehicle, they ripped off his front gates, and then proceeded to attach chains to the container, the ISO container, and they ripped the doors off that as well, using their vehicle. And of course, that set off the alarm. So there's questions to be had there regarding the ability of the criminals to get in, to penetrate the outer layer of security and gain access to the area where I'm guessing they knew there was something valuable. So they might have been watching the farm, might have had drones, or they might have been doing some sort of overt or indeed even covert surveillance in the build up to that particular attack. Now, the attack itself, at the point where the alarm is going off, the farmer decided that this was a time to grab a torch and come out and confront the perpetrators. I would suggest and urge people that that's probably not the best course of approach to take. On this occasion, he was attacked. He said he was repeatedly punched, and he was attacked by, and there was 4 guys, and you saw the wounds on his arm. But the wounds go a little bit deeper than that, which we'll talk about. There's a lot of mental scarring and mental issues now accompanying this. So at the point where people are being victimized, a crime in progress, where you suddenly realize there's someone in my yard, there's someone in my barn, in my quads, or whatever it might be, that's the time to not go out. That's the time to remain very secure and safer in your property with the doors and windows closed, and simply call the police and report a crime in progress. They may get caught, you know, by not approaching them. They could actually be caught. Chances might be quite slim because it's a rural area. The response time to rural crimes, even crimes in progress, is obviously going to be a lot slower. And the criminals know this. So let's not approach criminals. Let's call the police. And don't forget, even if they get away with the quad bike or other items of farm machinery and equipment, it's highly likely to be insured. Better to remain safe and not beaten. That was a lucky outcome. It could have been a lot worse. You know, they could have been armed. They could have had knives or guns or who knows what. They're criminals, and possibly highly organized criminal gangs at that. So let's not interfere with them. If we catch them in the course of a crime, call the police, let them deal with it. But let's very quickly, as I end this then, so that's 8 minutes and a bit, let's think of the repercussions. The farmer's left traumatized. He's physically injured. He's hurt his arm. He's been beaten. But it's worse than that, isn't it? He's now living with the aftermath of this attack. He said he can't sleep between 1 and 4 a.m. when he knows the criminals are operating. So it's affecting his sleep. It's affecting his mental health. And that'll have an effect on his children. We saw his son there. His son's going to be worried that his dad's feeling vulnerable, violated, and can't sleep. The guy's a farmer. He works with big, heavy machinery, tractors, combines, and all of those things that require us to be on our A game, alert and switched on, not tired and drowsy because we can't sleep, because we're worried and stressed about the criminals. So this rural crime thing, it's a real nightmare. So that's the first of my little sort of voiceover videos, if you like, showing the attack on that particular farmer where they attempted to get his quad bike. They didn't get it on this case. But in future episodes, let's think about preventing the outer perimeter being penetrated in the first place. What can we do about that? I would really welcome your comments down below. I'd also welcome your comments on the farmer's action. What would you have done in that situation? What if they were on your property, violating your space and attempting to steal your equipment and machinery? What would you do? How would you react? And I'd look forward to your comments on that. And then what we'll do in a future episode next week, today's Sunday the 22nd. So by the end of next week, I'll do a little talk on the findings of the National Farmers Union Rural Crime Survey. So, hey, listen, thank you for watching my first one. I hope it's been of interest. Nice, short, punchy, to the point. Look forward to any comments. Please, please, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also, if you search for rural crime and farm safety on Facebook, join us there as well. Thanks, everybody, and stay safe.